Good morning and welcome. I'm Celeste and this is my FlossTube channel, Celeste Creates. Thank you for joining me this morning. Today is Thursday, March 4th, and I am really glad to be back. For all of you who are returning viewers and subscribers, thank you so much for joining me again today to be with me and to see what I've been up to. And if you're new here at my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you've decided to join me. And I love to do these videos and have such a good time sharing with you what I'm doing and then turning around and watching other floss tubers and getting totally enabled, and you'll see what I mean here today. So it has been 3 weeks since my last FlossTube video. This is number 16, I think. And so it's been quite a 3 weeks. So thank you for everybody who has checked on me or offered me some comments as to, hey, we miss your videos, or thank you so much. We're good, but it's been an interesting 3 weeks. So yeah, I think I've said before on my video that February is just like a big, busy month anyway. We have 2 birthdays, there's Valentine's, there's basketball and dance, and it's just, for some reason, February just ends up being a really busy month without adding anything to it. So this February, brought us the surprise, so I guess we had Valentine's Day on Sunday, which was lovely. To have steak with my husband, and the Monday after Valentine's Day was the day that snow and ice arrived here in Houston area, south of Houston, and well, all over Texas, right? I know everybody's heard about it. It's nothing, no surprise to anybody. So snow arrived, in that morning, and we were just, oh, it's so pretty, and we're so excited, and look at the ice, and we did really enjoy it. And it's always kind of fun when snow and ice shows up in, this part of Texas especially. And then I think it was later that day we started losing power off and on. It would go off for a couple hours, then it would come back on, and it would go off. And it was super cold. I don't think we've had 18 degrees here in many, 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 many years, and I've lived here all my life. And so then that evening, the power finally went off for good, and so it was cold and dark. So, but we managed. It was okay. And so, yes, like many, we were without power for, I guess, from Monday night through Wednesday evening, maybe ours came back on. And even then we were kind of hesitant, like, oh, is this for real? Or are we going to, wake up during the night and it's going to be off again? But I think it was Wednesday. Finally, by Wednesday night, it stayed on, and we had power from then on. And so, we managed. We got the fireplace going. I joked that, thank goodness I make so many quilts because we kept warm. It was fine. And so then after that, I think it was Thursday, we got the order for our city that we needed to boil water. So, not fun, but I didn't have any burst pipes, and so I was just really thankful, because I did have friends who, did have damage to pipes and things like that, and it was really hard. And so even though we had to be boiling water, I was just really thankful that I had water coming out of my faucet that I could boil or that I could shower with. And so anyway, we boiled water, and you just start getting into a new routine. So it was difficult, but not impossible. And then I think Thursday we found out that my daughter's show, she's to be dancing in Cinderella this month. She is Cinderella, and this is her senior year, so this is her last year of dance, and it's kind of a big deal. So because of all the ice and the water problems and all that, Cinderella was supposed to be Saturday the 20th and Sunday, and it got postponed. And so we had confidence, that they would reschedule it. We knew that, and they have. But at the time, it was really hard for her to know that it had been canceled. So that got canceled, and then Saturday, my husband started having a fever, and so we're like, oh no. So we locked him away in his room that afternoon, and he did end up testing positive the beginning of the week, testing positive for COVID. And so we've been doing that since whatever day, the 20th, and it is, it is what it is, right? I think we spend a lot of time, I know I spend a lot of time worrying about what will I do if this happens? How will I be able to handle it? And then it happens, and then God provides, and God's help is enough. And so anyway, he has been imprisoned in his room since that Saturday, and we're just so very, very thankful. There's always something to be thankful for if we look hard enough, and it doesn't change the hardness of the situation, and it doesn't change how you feel about it, but there's always something that I can hopefully find to be thankful about. And so we're terribly thankful that his symptoms have been super, super mild, and out of the rest of us that have been in this house or who were exposed to him, nobody else has gotten sick, and so we're super thankful for that. We're almost to the end of his isolation and our quarantine, yay! And we just pray it stays that way. And so at some point right after he had a fever and everything, I remember telling my daughter how I had realized that we were disappointed because the show was not going to happen on that Saturday and Sunday. But I said, what I realized was that if it hadn't been postponed, she would have been dancing on the 20th and the 21st. The show would have gone on. She would have been dancing the part of Cinderella. But because of the way my husband's symptoms started, he wouldn't have gone. He would have had a fever and wouldn't have gone to the show we bought tickets for that night, and wouldn't have been able to go on Sunday. And just realizing that he would have missed her performing as Cinderella had the show not been postponed and put off. And so even that, it just amazes me what God can do, and it just makes me want to look for those kinds of things more often in my life, where he's working those kinds of little miracles for us and providing. And so the show has been rescheduled, and he'll get to go, barring anything else. We're in March, right? So this should be better. But we are good. God is good. God is faithful. He's a provider. And I don't say it in that it's hard. Not hard. It is hard. But I think when we get past the why or the wondering, I don't understand. I heard a homily this past Sunday where after that we have to ask God, how am I supposed to respond to this trial or this suffering or this situation? How do you want me to respond to this, God? And so once I calm down, right, and I try to see that. I want to see that. I want to ask God, how do you want me to respond in this situation? So anyway, the bad part is that I've gone a little nuts. I've been busy. I've been making things. I've been, all over the place. So I'm going to show you a picture here. I'm going to insert this, and I want you to notice the likeness between these two that I'm going to show you. And the likeness is getting more and more each day. So here, let me show you this picture side by side. Yeah, that's me, and that's a squirrel. And I've been all over the place. So this should be fun because I've worked on a lot. I have made bunches of things. I have bought stuff, started stuff. Anyway, squirrels, lots of squirrel. So with that, I am going to get started. I want to show you first something that I did. I think it was during this time. I made some spreadsheets. So let me show you that. So over these last couple of weeks, as I've watched some FlossTubes, I watched Nicole's needlework, and I just love watching Nicole and all her beautiful samplers. And so one recent episode, I can't remember which number it is right now. I'll try and link that particular episode below. She talked about some of the different apps she's been using for her stitching, and in one or two of them she talked about her spreadsheets that she had put together on Google Sheets to keep track of charts and floss and different things like that. And I thought, I really like that. I like spreadsheets. My husband loves spreadsheets. He loves spreadsheets in a different way than I do. He can do things with a spreadsheet that I can't do. But I do love a spreadsheet. I love keeping track of things that way. I like handwriting things, but sometimes when it gets a little too hard to manage, then I really enjoy the spreadsheet. And so I will provide a link to that episode, whatever it was, one or two of them. But I'll also provide a link to her blog where she talks about, gives some links to her spreadsheets, which is so generous. Thank you so much, Nicole, for providing those links, because I was able to download them and then put them in Excel. And I kind of, fiddled with them a little bit and got them the way I wanted. Very little I had to do to them. And then I was able to use them to keep track of my charts and floss and things. So you can see in the back I have a little notebook here where I make notes about things measurements of things I'm making. I've put my plans for the year in there. Maybe I'll make my FlossTube notes in here. And in the back, I had all my, flosses, fancy floss listed. And then I had another sheet that I had printed off the internet that I kept track of what DMC I had. But I don't always have this with me. So if I'm somewhere, if I haven't already written it down, I don't know if I have it or not. I don't have that. I don't have that with me. And then the other thing I realized was, how often we have a floss that it's in another project bag for another project, but we know that we're not working on that one right now, and I'm just gonna steal that one from that particular project. And so I was actually spending time looking through my project bags for a particular color. Where is this one? I know I have it. My list says I have it. Now where is it? And so I'd have to go through each project bag and look at the little floss ring. So I decided this would be actually very helpful. So I can show you just kind of briefly. This is my Kindle Fire. But I did the spreadsheets actually, and then nope, I can't do that. But this is just all my DMC, and I wrote down how many I have, and then you'll see here I included like what chart it's in. And so I did that for, you can see here I have, if you can see that, I have a Classic Colorworks, I have a DMC, I think that's Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works, all the different, you know, flosses that I have. And then in each of those charts, it tells, you know, how many I have and where they are. And then I also made myself a chart list of all my charts. Let me see if I can. I can't do that. But anyway, it has all my charts on it. And, you know, whether it's a whip, whether it's just sitting there, or whether I've completed it. I put like an X over to the side here if I've given it away or shared it with somebody. And so that was just really, it was fun to kind of put that together and get it going. And then it has been helpful already. And so I will, for sure, thank you, Nicole, I will provide those links down below. And if you're interested, you could kind of, you know, fiddle with those and maybe do something similar. So that was a huge help. And so now, because it's on Google, it's on my Google Drive, those spreadsheets are. And so now it's also on my phone. So if I am at Hobby Lobby looking for DMC, or you know, happen to go to the needlework shop on the other side of town, or whatever, I can easily see what I have. So I really enjoy doing that. So again, I'll link that below, and if you're interested, you can try and work on that too. So I guess I need to show you finish first. I'll show you one finish, and then I'll show you the other one in a little bit. So I was talking to my friend April, and we were, I don't know what we were talking about, but talking about, you know, of course, stitching, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to work on. She's like, do you have a small in there that you could work on? And I said, I'm really bad at choosing large projects, and I didn't actually have a small going at that time. So she said, well, pick a small. And so I did. I went to my charts over here and looked through them and realized that I had a Brenda Gervais chart, and I bought it a long time ago when I first got back into cross stitching, and the chart is Easter Peep, Brenda Gervais. So cute. And so I had this one. I think I had all the DMC, and if I did, maybe one or two that I just did something close. And so I pulled that out and I started on that, and that took me about 3 nights to finish while we were watching movies and stuff. So it wasn't like super fast, but I had some substantial time, especially since we haven't been going anywhere. And so I finished in a couple days. I finished Easter Peep. And then that Sunday I finished it in the morning. I think I only had a couple lines of grass down here to do. I had been thinking, I wonder if I could make a little stand-up. So I watched the tutorial that Vonna Pfeiffer has on doing a stand-up, and thank you, Vonna. Somebody else was just thanking you the other day on their FlossTube for making those videos and sharing those with us, because they just really are invaluable. And they're good for people who have no sewing experience, and then, I do have sewing experience, so it was really, made sense, and I was able to put this together relatively quickly. It's not easy peasy, but it wasn't hard. So I chose a Lori Holt fabric from my stash for the back, and I showed this on my Instagram. I'm Celeste Creates on Instagram, and I used one of Lori Holt's So Simple shapes to do the shape, to draw out the shape for the stand-up. So I followed Vanna's tutorial on how to do that and stuff it, and I mean, the stuffing's hard. I put a lot in here, but I've still got some wrinkles up here. So, but for my first stand-up, I'm pretty proud, and I feel like when it's time to do a drum, I feel like I get it, and I think I'll know how to do it. And actually, I think the drum will stuff a little easier. Anyway, And then here's the bottom with some mat board covered in the same fabric. And then I've stitched all the way around. And I think Vonna had added some cording across the top to hers and cording around the bottom, but and my stitches weren't too bad, but to kind of cover some of that imperfection, instead of cording, I had some Lady Dot Creates Rick Rack, and it was really just the perfect color. It's called Mossy, and looked great, and so I attached that all the way around with glue. And so he's downstairs on my cabinet with my chick display, which I've added a few things to. I know last time I did a FlossTube video, I promised a Quilty Tube video, and I haven't done that because of everything that's been going on, but I do want to do one soon because I'd like to show some of those things there. So he's down in my chick display for spring, and I'm really pretty excited about how he turned out. So thank you, Vonna, for making that possible. Thank you, April, for twisting my arm and getting me to do a small. It was kind of enjoyable. And then I got back to my big samplers. So I have another finish. It's right back there. I guess I can show it to you. So there's a story to this, and it goes with a whip. So I think it was just yesterday. I woke up by myself in my own little room. It's kind of been weird. And, you know, I woke up thinking about God first, so there you go. But shortly after that, I started thinking about cross stitch while I was laying here. God first, then cross stitch. And I was just thinking about my whips and what I was working on, and something that I had recently started and was really enjoying, which got me back to this chart, which I had started. Oh goodness, oh, I'm sorry, hold on, here, let me put this down. The piles are real, people. I started, this is my my calendar where I keep track of everything. I had started this beautiful chart. Here, I can hold it up while I look. This is AH to EE by Kathy Barrick, and this, I think, came out a year ago from Market, from Kathy Barrick, and I'm gonna find out when I started this. Man. Y'all are so patient. Get a sip of coffee. I started this on March 23rd last year, so almost a year ago. And it really is beautiful. I forget what color. It almost looks like a black green that she does it in, this Quaker, and I just loved it. I thought it was beautiful. And I still love it. So I had started that back in March, and I chose a really beautiful blue called Wavy Navy, and I love it. I love doing that, and I picked a 36 count linen, and I started on it. And so here's the story. I woke up thinking, I really love this chart. I really love doing this monochromatic piece of stitching. I love everything about it. I love this Wavy Navy. It's Classic Colorworks Wavy Navy. It's beautiful. But I found I wasn't working on it at all, or motivated to work on it, because I had decided to do it with 2 strands of floss on 36 count. And it was puffy, and I wasn't loving it. I love 1 strand of floss, and I think it's the only thing I had left that was 2 strands of floss that I was working on. But I wasn't working on it. So it wasn't something I was looking forward to. So I woke up that morning thinking, I think I need to start it over. So by noon, I had made that decision to start it over, and decided to take what I had. There was only a small bit right here that I didn't get to use. So this is all I had done, which is, I mean, it's enough, but it's not, you know, I don't want to rip all that out. And it is pretty. So I made a nice little square. I only lost a little bit right here. And I turned this into a pillow, pulled some blue from my stash up there, and just made a simple pillow with it. And it's sitting up with some blue and white plate that I have. I love blue and white dishes. So anyway, I ended up using that. So I did that. This was yesterday morning. So before noon, I'd made that decision. I'd made the pillow, and I had chosen linen because I already had my floss. So I wanted to stick with that. Chosen linen and started over. So by the time I went to bed last night, this is where I had gotten in starting over on AH to EE. So I'm really happy with it. I'm using one strand of floss. I chose this 40 count. This is 40 count straw. It's an Old Weeks linen, which a sweet friend of your, Tara, offered to send me a while back, and asked if I'd wanted it, and I said yes, I'd love it. I find that as I'm starting to do a little bit of 40 count, that the Old Weeks is a kind of a nice introduction to 40 count for me. It's a little bit looser, and so it's a little bit less of a transition. Anyway, it works, and I'm happy. I love the straw. I think this blue looks beautiful on there. And so here I go again, and I'm excited to work on it now. And I definitely will finish this and feel so much better about it. So that is a FFO, and then sort of a new start. It's a new restart, and that's one of my whips. So let's move forward into whips. Okay, so I have been working on all sorts of things. So that's my downstairs whip basket, and I kind of had to bring it up here. I think there were two in there that I didn't really work on this time, but I just thought it was easier to bring my basket up. Right after I did my last video, I got out, this is my beautiful project bag from my friend Bonnie. Hi Bonnie, love you Bonnie. I got out Martha Davies by Chessie and Me. Martha Davies, 1830. I bought this one, this may have been market last year, or I bought it last year real early, and anyway, I loved the colors. I remember texting Christy, Crosshatch Quilts, and saying, what's that sampler out there? And it's got this, you know, it was before I was really watching all the samplers that were out there and knew what was there. So I picked up Martha Davies, and I finished the top alphabet. Look at those colors. Aren't they just beautiful? I love color. So I got all the over 2 alphabets done, and a couple of little letters down here where it's going to say Martha Davies and her age. And then I've just been working a little bit on the over 1 alphabet that runs through here, and a little heart. And then I kind of decided, you know, I really want to go ahead and take this border down and get started on some motifs. So I did. And then I ran into some, not problems, but decisions, right? So if you look at the chart, and I think I've learned for me that I like Chessie and Me, but I have to be careful because she tends to, in my opinion, she tends to include a decent number of specialty stitches. So I just have to look at them maybe before I buy them. And so here's the deal. Over 1, I get it. I can do that, and I don't love it, but I can do it. But this deer here, this blue deer, all of him and the grass underneath him, and then a couple other places in the chart, are supposed to be what's called an oblong cross stitch. And it shows it in the diagram. It's not hard to do. I did find I could only do it going in one direction. If I tried to do it the other direction, it looked completely different. So I went ahead and I did the oblong cross stitch here in the grass where it said to do it. And it wasn't fun to do, and I, again, found like, oh, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not looking forward to it. And then when I looked at the stitches, they just didn't do much for me. They kind of just, I don't know, they look like these puffy lumps all bunched together. So it really wasn't working for me. So again, I think I was texting Christy, kind of like, what do you think? Do you think I could do this instead? And so I ripped out, it wasn't much, I just ripped out the grass here, and I decided to do, just do it as cross stitch. And so then the problem with doing it as cross stitch, I got light all over. The problem with doing it as cross stitch was there were a few places where you only had one oblong cross stitch, so it was only taking up, you know, 2 high and 1 across. So I just decided I would do the oblong cross stitch there in those places, which isn't hard. So I'm trying to see, there's maybe an oblong cross stitch in his, I mean, you can't even tell. So that worked really well. So then I'm working on Mr. Deer here. I love him. And if you look at the chart, you know, here's Mr. Deer. And everything in the chart calls for 1/2, except for the over 1, and then I think there's a satin stitch here, and then there's these oblong cross stitches. But it didn't say, anyway, it was wanting me to use 2 colors of thread for the deer. It was wanting me to use a brown and then the Tennessee, tartan plaid, which is the pale blue that's in here. So I was like, why am I going to do that? Because then that's going to be the only thing on my whole chart that's going to be 2 strands of flat. Anyway, so I decided to make him the color of the roof, which to me looked enough like in the picture. This is so confusing. I'm sure I'm just making a butchered mess of this. Anyway, whatever the color is for the roof, actually it's wavy navy. I decided it was close enough, so I made him wavy navy instead of using this blue and a brown together. And I figured, that looks good. Looks good. So now I'm happy. So now all I need to do is finish working on the motifs, and it's really a pretty simple project. So I'm glad I made those decisions. Because I love the chart. I love the piece. It's just so beautiful. That is 36 count Abecedarian by R&R. And then all the flosses it calls for. I'm missing the wavy navy because I stole it. But all of the flosses it calls for are classic colorworks, and I just love them. So it had wanted me to mix, what did it want me to mix? For the deer, it had wanted me to mix these 2. And I made an executive stitching decision and decided not to. So that is Martha Davies, and I love it. And I'm happy that I made some decisions that will encourage me to work on it instead of just being bummed out because there's stitches I don't like. Okay, after that, I took a couple days and I worked on Ann Webb, and I'm stitching Ann Webb with my friend Lisa, Frenzy Fingers, and we started this one together at the beginning of the year. Look at those gorgeous colors. I mean, aren't they beautiful? Look at that, so beautiful. Those are really pretty. These are all DMCs. Look at the blues. Oh my goodness. I will insert a picture here of the chart because I don't have a color printer, and so I don't have a picture to show you. And so we are working on Ann Webb. This is a Hands Across the Sea. I chose the DMC. This is 36 count Winter Moon, and I worked on this for just a couple days, but I got a little bit more done. This was my first time to do some Algerian eyelets, which I do love. Those are fun. I enjoy those. So anyway, I just love the colors. I love the flower buds in that border, and super pretty. So I'm really loving that. So that is Ann Webb from Hands Across the Sea. And I'm hoping to pick that one up again this month. It's so springy and bright and cheerful. I love it. So that is Ann Webb. All right, my Christy bag. Thank you, Christy. All right. Oh, here's a funny thing. Hold on. I'm kind of running low on bags, and so my really pretty blue and white Quaker, the AHTE that I just showed you, it's in a Halloween bag. And that's a Christy bag too. All right. After that, I started going a little crazy. And I'd had this kitted up, and I wasn't sure when I wanted to start it, and I decided that it was time to start it on my daughter's birthday, on Ash Wednesday. Ah, that's why I did it. It was Ash Wednesday. It was my daughter's birthday. So this was during... Did the lights come on that night and I started it? I don't know. It was my daughter's birthday. It was Ash Wednesday. We had no power. We were boiling water. So her birthday was a little bit, just a little different this year. But hey, she's a trooper, and she's joyful and precious, and she took it like a champ. So anyway, I decided to start G Leger. And I don't know if that's how you say it. Kim and I are in the same boat. Kim from Barbara's Daughter was like, I don't know how to say it. I don't speak French. Well, neither do I. And so Kim will just make up our own. We'll make up how we want to say it. But here it is. G Leger. That's how I'm saying it. If it were Spanish, I could do this. Gorgeous chart. I know you've seen it. Lisa Kindred Stitcher did a beautiful one. I know from Deb from Country Stitchers is working on it, and so beautiful. So I started that, and I had the flosses for a while. This was part conversion, part choices, and I'm start doing this one on a 36 count vintage country mocha, and here's where I am. I changed the color of the leaves. They were not showing up. The green that I had for that one was not showing up at all. So I don't mind the rose color there. I think is that vintage lace maybe? I don't mind it being, you know, pale, but this here, these leaves were really pale, and they were almost kind of fluorescent, and it wasn't working for me. So I took them off and started with a different color. I think I picked baby spinach, and I'm really happy with that. So I started this. I gave this a few days, and then because I'm a squirrel, I put it down. But it's beautiful, and I'm super excited to work on it. I love it, and it's a real joy to work on. So that I started. Just gorgeousness, right? I mean, come on, people. What is not to love? Love color. Okay, so that is G Leger. Man, I am so laughing at myself. Okay, let's put that one away. Okay, then after that, I picked up another whip that my friend April and I started on January 29. I do have kids. And it is in the book, I know I've shown this before. Oh, this one. Sorry. This is Sweet Land of Liberty by Blackbird Designs. It's this chart up here. Salute to Abigail. And April and I are working on this together, so I gave this some days, and oh, I love working on this one. This is a lot of fun. So I'm doing this on 36 count raw natural, and that's as long as it is. So that's this is the bottom here where I'm turning the corner. So it's not huge at all, and just takes 4 colors. I think I shared those colors in my last video, but I can do that again. I just looked at the pictures. I didn't use the silk that was called for. I looked at the picture, and my son helped me pick out some the 4 colors to do. So I don't think I have much further to go here. I think it goes to Q, maybe over here. And then that's the other edge. So this is a lot of fun to work on, you know, with 4 colors. It's not, there isn't a whole lot of switching, so that's really nice. And let me show you the colors again. I did Weeks Dye Works Blue Jeans, Weeks Michaels Navy, Weeks Dye Works Grits, and Weeks Dye Works Turkish Red. That's a new favorite. All right, salute to Abigail. Whew. So then, let's see. Oh yes, okay. So that was salute to Abigail. Worked on that for a number of days. Okay. Oh, and this is in my April bag. Look how pretty. Love it. Beautiful. I love how she did the patchwork on the back. That was really clever. I know she worked hard on figuring that out. After that, I decided, because I had set myself a goal that I would finish Consider the Lilies by the end of March. That I wanted to finish it within a year of when I started it. So I pulled it out, I think it was last Monday, or I don't know. And here it is. I absolutely love it. Consider the Lilies by Heartstring Samplery. I love it. This will get finished. But I was stitching on it and I wasn't feeling it. It was just not, working for me. It was not speaking to me. So, I know you've seen this before. It's really big, and that's how much I have done. So I'm really, technically, not far. Not far at all. It's really funny because this portion up here that I have to complete, this quadrant here, that's the part that Liz has done. So, from Elizabeth Ann Stitch. So Liz, if you just kind of want to put your part here, just kind of stitch it together and make one, we'll be done. So, I did work on, I had a few of the words left to do. So I did that, and I started this tree over here. I wasn't feeling it, and I decided I needed to put it away and maybe not worry about the deadline. Talking to my friends about it, I was like, I don't know what it is. I love it. I want to finish it. I can't wait to finish it. But I'm kind of wondering if it was because I set a deadline. I don't really like deadline quilting. I think my husband probably always rolls his eyes when I take on another, like an order. I do better when I sew on my timeline and not somebody else's. I know that's terribly childish, but anyway, and I just wonder if giving myself that deadline kind of worked against me and made me feel pressured. So I decided not to worry about that. No deadline. I will pull it out and I will work on it and I will finish it. It just wasn't the right time right now. So then I worked on the Easter Peep that I showed you, that I finished. And then Lisa and I got to talking about red samplers, and she was showing me what she was working on, and I had finished recently, at the beginning of February, I had finished that Token of Love. And I really enjoyed doing that, and I was really wanting to do another red sampler, and I have to be doing a red sampler because Laura said so. I have to be in compliance. And so we were trading. Oh, I love this red sampler. Oh, I want to do this one. Oh, you should look at this one. And then one day I came across the red sampler I knew I wanted to do. So I will insert a picture right here because, like I said, I don't have a color printer. But here it is. And it is gorgeous. It is a chart by Reflets de Soie. Just don't tell me if I'm saying it wrong. And it is a It is called, when you look on the Reflet de Soie website, it just says Lettre Carmine, and I'll try and run that across the bottom here, which I think means red letters. So I was gonna buy the chart. I think I found one place, I forget which one, but I was gonna buy the chart. Maybe it was $20-something, $20. I was gonna buy the chart, printed, and get it and start on that. And so I think I could buy it somewhere here online. Anyway. But in my looking, you get, my husband and I were talking about this last night, you get on this hunt for, where can I find it, or what do I want? And I found, just by chance, that chart was part of a 6-part mystery sampler in a magazine. So I still don't know how I came across it, because I think it was several Google pages down. But in the Gift of Stitching magazine in 2010, this exact chart was published over 6 issues as a sampler mystery chart. And so I saw that, and then I was excited because you could buy that 1 year. So it looked like the Gift of Stitching. In a year there were 12 issues, and I don't even know if they make the magazine anymore. But on their website you were able to purchase 1 year. So I bought all of 2010, which was 12 issues, for $11.95, the digital PDFs of the magazines. So for $11.95 I got the chart I wanted, plus whatever else was included, some really pretty things in those 12 issues of the Gift of Stitching. So I will try and link that below, and then I just printed off the charts that I'm working on, and so all 6 portions of that beautiful chart are there, and I was so thrilled to find that. So that was the Gift of Stitching magazine in 2010. That year had the 6 issues that had this chart in it. And so on that chart, I think it was like El Brode de Lettre Carmine. Ooh, so bad. Which I think is, I don't remember now. I think it's back there. Oh, I got it. But so I decided I had to have that, and then I worked on figuring out what red I wanted to do, and I ended up ordering. This is Turkish red, the one I had chosen to use for Salute to Abigail, and I just love it. It's beautiful. I decided the chart called for either 2 silks or 2 DMCs. But I wanted to do a red sampler because I really enjoy just doing the one, floss color. And so I decided that I didn't want to do 2 different ones. I wanted one nicely variegated red. So I was going to do it all one. And so then I ordered that from Christine, Hollis Hand Creates. And then I pulled a piece of linen from my stash. This is 36 count Zweigart light sand, and I got started. So I think it was 2 days worth of work. I got all the way across the top. So this is as wide as it is. This is like an 18 by 27 piece. So I don't really do well picking small things. So yeah, this is going to take up all that pretty much. So I made it all the way across the top, and then started these beautiful cursive letters here. And so I am just loving that. I love the color. You can see the variation in that Turkish red is so beautiful. So I'm really excited about that, and was enjoying this so much. And I think that's what got me thinking about the blue one, the AHTEE, that darn, I really like working on this single color sampler, and I'm not working on that blue one. Anyway, that's how I ended up restarting AHTEE. So I think that is all my whips for 3 weeks. That's a lot for me. All right, so now I'm gonna get into my haul. Okay, so the haul has been real. It's probably a good thing that Brian's gonna be done with his isolation soon. So anyway, here is a little bit of stitchy kindness. This is the piece of 40 count straw, the old week's straw that a friend sent to me so generously. Thank you so much. That I used part of this to restart the AH to EE. So loving that. That is so pretty. Thank you. And let's see. I also got some stitchy kindness from my friend Bonnie. She sent me a lovely piece of the, oh, that's terrible. I have not bought any Picture This Plus linen so far. Partly because I think it's one of those brands of linen that can be so highly modeled, and sometimes I'm worried that it won't be quite what I want. But she sent me a beautiful piece of 36 count Ren. Love it. It's beautiful. I'm really excited about that. And so this 36 count Ren is for this in the new Winds of Autumn book. This beautiful chart. I think I've showed this before, that she and I, Mighty Acorn, Bonnie and I are going to stitch this together. And so she sent me that piece of Ren. I have all the flosses, I think, except one. I couldn't get Cocoa. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm starting that yet, but it's so pretty and I would love to have that for fall. So I got that. And then the rest has been well, floss. I've gotten some floss and then charts. So here is my copy. I think I can, yeah, of the red sampler chart. That's the PDF. You can see the title there, which I can't really pronounce. And so that's the one that came out of the magazine. So that Lettre Carmine red letters, French red letters. All right. That's that one. Pardon my no color printer. And then I bought this chart is April's fault because April has been working on Jane Cowie. I loved this the moment it came out last year at market. And I didn't buy it because I was really, really worried about all that overone. But April has been working on hers, and it's as stunning as I thought it would be. And so I went ahead and ordered the chart. I don't have plans to start it yet. I'll probably do the DMC, and but I decided, yeah, I do want to go ahead and add that to my collection of charts as one that I want to do. It's so my colors and design, and maybe by the time I start it, my over one will be even better. So I got that chart. Then, because of Shanda stitching in Idaho, I watched her last video, and she was going through all her whips, and I saw one that I had not seen before, and I loved the sampler itself, and I loved the verse on it. So this is called the Lucy Mack sampler by Lori Rippey. She is Homespun Prims by Lori. She has her own website. This is my black and white. Let me insert a picture here. But what I loved about this, and I may change the colors of the houses, but what I loved on it was the verse from a particular hymn, prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, oh take and seal it for thy courts above. And so that is, I know you're all shouting at me. I could sing it. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, I love that hymn and that song, and so that's why I got this chart. So that'll be a wonderful one to stitch. Then I had been waiting for this chart to come out. I had seen a little snippet of the border as Nicola Parkman from Hands Across the Sea, as she was stitching it, and so I was being very patient and waiting because I knew it would be coming. And so I bought this little gem called Where Flowers Bloom, and I'll insert the color picture here. It is just beautiful, that border with all the different colored little flower bud. It's stunning. It's not big, it's a smaller sampler. And I was just so excited that that came out. I think it is only, the sampler itself is 139 stitches wide by 167 high. So a really reasonable size little sampler. And I will, I'll use the DMC on that. But again, the colors are beautiful, and I just, I really look forward to stitching that one. So thank you, Nicola, for putting that out. And then yesterday I happened upon a sampler that I had seen before and kind of forgotten about, and I decided to buy it. Anyway, this is in an Etsy shop of her own designs. It's Mary Hickmott Designs, and she's in England. And this is called a historic wedding sampler. And let me insert the picture here in color. I think that is beautiful, and I love stitching urns and baskets of flowers, and that's all this is. I mean, yeah, there's a couple other little, there's some crowns and hearts and things, but it is mostly urns and baskets of flowers, and the colors are beautiful. And so I wanted to add that to one that I would like to stitch. And so I think it was originally stitched with anchor floss, but she gives a couple other conversions, and I'm going to do the DMC. It's a number of DMC, and it's a big one. I really, really, really have a hard time choosing small samplers. I have some over here that I need to be stitching. Anyway, so that is all my haul, plus, like I said, some threads and things like that. And I would talk about plans, but the way I have been lately, I don't know what my plans are. I really don't have any big plans to start anything this month. I was going to start Miss Lucy Calcutt. I have her kitted, ready to go, but I started a lot in February, and so I'm not sure that I will start her this month. But if I get to the point where I'm feeling like, oh, I would like a new start, it's ready to go, and I'd kind of already planned on it. But mostly I'd like to work on any of my whips and starts from January and February. I don't really plan on adding anything else in, just working on the things that I showed you a little while ago. And so, is that it? Might be. So I just, again, thanks for checking in on me and being patient over my crazy last weeks of life here. I would love it. Anybody who would be willing to continue to pray for my husband for complete healing. He's doing great. And for protection for the rest of my family, for my in-laws, and as we come out of our isolation and quarantine here, that there's no more issues or anything like that. And I'm just so thankful. So I don't have a lot to say here at the end, but I just want to leave you with 2 verses. I feel like I've been learning a lot lately, all over the place, really. I think when our eyes are open and we're listening and we're seeking God, that He shows us things all over the place. And so I feel like I've been learning a lot about just suffering and thankfulness, and just how to approach it. And I was preparing for there's a couple of gentlemen at church. Two of them and we teach this year the seniors, the juniors and seniors at church, and we're going to talk a little bit about suffering and healing and forgiveness and mercy this coming Sunday. We were preparing for it, and I really felt like something I wanted to say was that our attitude towards suffering and trials is really proportional to how much time we spend with God. So if we're really seeking to know who God is, then that will affect how we look at suffering. Without Him, suffering's just suffering. There's nothing worthwhile in it. But with Him, suffering unites us to Him. And so I just wanted to leave you with a couple of, as I was doing some looking up scripture that maybe I want to be able to share with the teens on Sunday, I just picked two that I wanted to share here. One is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17. For this light, momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory beyond all measure. And so even when our trials and sufferings are really hard, it may not seem light, but compared to the glory that we will experience when we suffer with Christ and are eventually, get to heaven, that we can see it that way. And then another one I wanted to share was Isaiah 43, verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. And so just have confidence. Even though it takes time sometimes, or it takes, we get past our emotions, or we get past the whys and the wondering why. We get past that, we can maybe start to, for me, I calm down, and then I can see all that He has done for me and all that He continues to do for me, and that He will be with me through the fire, through the trials. And so I hope y'all have a blessed couple of weeks ahead. I really hope to do a quilty tube soon, and hopefully it won't be so long before I do another floss tube. So thanks for joining me, and thanks for your prayers, and thank you for having fun sharing stitching with me. So I will see you in a couple of weeks, and have a great day.